Okay, it looks like it's slowing down here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome, a happy Friday to you, wherever you are in the world. And my name is Melissa Vaccaro, and I'm going to be talking with you today about our Navigating the FDA Food Code course. I'm the Senior Food Safety Program Specialist at NEHA, and I'm also an instructor with a long background in food safety and public health. I often like to tell people that I kind of grew up in food safety. I grew up from boots on the ground inspections to performing all kinds of different inspections to serving as a program specialist with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. Later, I worked for as a food safety consultant, and now I'm with NEHA. So throughout all of these various roles, the one thing that was always constant was the FDA Food Code. As a standardization officer with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, I learned really how essential it was to truly, really know and understand the food code, not just to be able to enforce it, but to be able to apply it effectively in a variety of real world situations. So for many years, FDA and NEHA offered the FDA 112 Food Code course, which has been a key part of inspector training. But until now, the industry professionals couldn't participate. After years of hearing from you, our owners, operators, managing staff, food employees, NEHA is really, really proud to say that we finally have a version of this course tailored just for industry. So we want to thank you for joining our session today. This webinar is going to be a quick introduction, just a little taste of the full Navigating the FDA Food Code course and what it offers. So by the end, hopefully you'll have a better understanding of why the food code matters, what makes this course unique, and how it can help you protect both your business and your customers. Before we get started, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. You are all in listen-only mode to help keep things running smoothly. However, you do have an opportunity to ask questions. So we'll have time for questions at the end. So drop your questions in the Q&A, not the chat, but the Q&A box. And we'll answer those questions, as many as we can, at the end of the presentation. So our goals for you today, and what you hopefully, what we want you to expect to happen here is, and to get out of this short webinar is, first, you'll be learning why understanding the FDA Food Code protects your business, not just from fines, but from bigger issues like customer illness, from brand damage, and things like that. Second, we'll give you clarity on what inspectors are really looking for, which can make inspections much, much less stressful. The third, we'll be talking about how this course helps you avoid violation and strengthen daily practices in your operation. So this session is really tailored to food employees, chefs, managers, owners, operators, people working on the front lines of food safety every day. So why does the FDA Food Code matter? Well, the Food Code itself provides the scientific foundation for food safety in the United States. It's not a regulation itself, but it is a model that most states and local health departments adopt. And by following it, you're going to be aligning with best practices that safeguard public health. So the Food Code is more than just a regulatory checklist. It's a foundation of public health protection issues. So as you all know, and I'm sure we all know this, that foodborne illness is the major public health concern, and that CDC estimates that 1 in 6 Americans do get sick from contaminated food each year. So understanding and applying the food code correctly helps prevent your business from contributing to that statistic, and that's huge. But what about this course? So what is this new course all about? So it's called Navigating the FDA Food Code, and it's a live virtual instructor-led course, meaning that you'll have real-time interaction with experts from both industry and regulatory. And this course is not just about learning citations and codes. We're going to focus on real-world applications as we move through each chapter. We'll take what's written in the code and we'll apply it to your food establishment. So with a few small changes, it basically is the same course that regulators take, that FD 112 class that regulators take to learn about the food code and how it's applied. So this course was designed specifically for industry professionals, though, so it was tweaked a little bit to make sure that we were capturing what industry needed to know and understand. So in this course, we are literally going to go chapter by chapter through the food code and take the code and translate it into practical knowledge. So NEHA developed the training with input from industry to make sure that the examples, discussions, and the tools that we apply in this course are applicable to your daily operations. So you see on the screen here our agenda. The course itself is a practical approach to help build confidence and consistency around food safety practices. And overall, it covers areas like protecting your business, having clarity on inspections, preventing mistakes or violations, and building a strong food safety habit or strong food safety culture within your facility. So today, I'll give you a quick preview of each of these bullets. We'll talk about each one of these. And this is the basic agenda that you're going to see us use if you take the class. The class is taught over 3 full days, and with the assistance of activities, will take us through the entire food code from chapter 1, actually from the preface through chapter 8. So the food code's core purpose is simple: to prevent foodborne illness. And when you and your team truly understand and apply it, you're not just meeting the regulation, but you're protecting your consumers and your staff and, of course, your reputation. And as we all know, violations can be costly and can in more ways than just money, right? So the cost, yes, is money, but it can also lead to closures, fines, and lasting damage to your brand or your brand name. And we certainly don't want any of that. So by taking a proactive approach, you show regulators that you're committed to public health. And the effort most often translates into smoother inspections and stronger partnerships. Ultimately, food safety isn't just about compliance. It's about customer safety, and it's about business protection as well. So this course is designed to help you stay confidently compliant. I love that word, confidently compliant, with building trust, both with your team and with your inspectors. So hopefully you'll have some clarity on inspections. We know that a big stress point for operators is inspections, and that's understandable. So this course is going to break down what inspectors actually are looking for, so you'll feel confident and prepared when it's time for an inspection. And once you understand the risk-based priorities that inspectors focus on, you'll find it easier to maintain that compliance every day, not just when someone's watching, right? It's what you're doing when people aren't watching. The food code is going to highlight, and we all, I think, probably know that the food code highlights 5 major CDC risk factors: improper holding, inadequate cooking, contaminated equipment, unsafe sources, poor personal hygiene. And these are the primary focus of any inspection. So throughout the course, we'll do activities that are going to focus on these risk factors. And by focusing on these, we know that we can reduce stress and make inspections routine instead of stressful surprises. And it's always important to stay inspection ready, right? I've had people contact me and say, Melissa, how can I be ready for an inspection? And my answer always is, you should always be ready for an inspection. You should be inspection ready every day. And understanding the food code is the foundation for being able to do this. So the food code revolves around controlling these risk factors and is organized by priority foundation, and core type violations. So here's just one area that we'll be talking about during the course. And it's one area that people often get tripped up on. And these are the 3 violation designations that are within the actual food code: priority foundation, and core. So priority, designated by a superscript P, within the food code. These are the big ones. These are the items that directly prevent foodborne illness, like cooking chicken to 165 degrees or excluding sick employees. Priority foundation, written as a superscript PF, These are priority foundation items, and they support what happens with priority items. So things like having a calibrated thermometer or having a written vomiting and diarrhea cleanup plan in the facility. And then there's core. Now, although there's a C there within the code, there is no superscript within the code for core. If it's not designated as a P or a PF, then it's core. And these are the more general sanitation and maintenance issues, like keeping your walls clean or labeling a secondary container properly. So inspectors are going to be focusing on these priority violations first, because those are going to be the ones that are the most critical. Then they're going to focus in on priority foundation and then core. So understanding these designations is going to help you be able to prioritize your efforts within your establishment, have corrections made quickly, even maybe guide what kind of training you give to your own staff. But ultimately, we're going to hopefully reduce any violations or repeat violations that you've had within the operation. Preventing mistakes is really important, obviously, and we say mistakes, probably violations might be the better term here. But it's important to understand common pitfalls in food safety during inspections. And many violations don't come really from carelessness, they come from not knowing the why behind the rule. And that's why throughout the course, we're going to take time to explain the rationale behind these requirements. So when you and your team understand the reasoning, you can spot mistakes before they happen and train staff more effectively. Ultimately, when employees understand the why about why something is in the food code, it begins to matter more. And it's not just what the rule says, but it's compliance that becomes part of your daily routine, not just another checklist to complete or a self-inspection to do each day. It becomes understanding the why. So hopefully with this course, you're going to be building stronger habits. The food code emphasizes key intervention strategies like no bare hand contact, employee health reporting, and proper hand washing. Embedding these practices into your daily routine, not just during an inspection, is what builds a strong food safety culture. It's about getting the whole team on board so that food safety becomes part of your kitchen's DNA. Throughout the course, we're going to explore what the FDA Food Code says about these interventions. And you'll hear from these experienced instructors and participate in hands-on activities, virtual hands-on activities, designed to reinforce these principles and help you apply them in the real-world setting. So food safety itself really should never be just about having a policy sitting on a shelf somewhere. But the course promotes a shared responsibility approach where every team member feels empowered to uphold the food safety standards within the facility, even if it's only around the tasks that they specifically perform. So we'll provide some practical tools to help you strengthen good habits and maintain consistency across every single shift, every single day. Now, the course is tailored for you, industry, right? So let me ask you, and just think about this. Have you or your team ever really, really read the entire food code from beginning to end? Or have you tried to find something in the food code, to try to find where is this in the food code, and you just couldn't find what you were looking for? I know when I started out, I had problems with that. So one of the nice things about this course is it's going to help you with that. That's exactly what we're going to be doing in the course. We're going to break the course down into ways that are approachable, practical, and directly connected to your day-to-day operations and teach you the food code layout. We're going to teach you the food code writing conventions so that it's easier to find something when you need to find it. The course is going to build specifically when we built it specifically for people in the food industry, those running the kitchens, your food employees, managers, owners, operators, or people working directly with customers every day. So the course is really for anyone in the retail world. And you can expect your trainers to provide real-world examples that you'll instantly be able to recognize from your own operations, along with some practical solutions and intervention discussions and activities that make the learning experience much more engaging and relevant. And throughout the course, we want to hear from you as well. What are your real-world experiences? What were your practical solutions? So what makes this course really stand out is how interactive it is. You won't be just sitting through slides. We do have some slides we need to get through, but you'll be part of the conversation. You'll be applying what you learn, and you'll be walking away with tools that you can hopefully immediately use. I think one thing that really sets this course apart is how interactive it is. So we try to have fun in the course too. And we know food safety can feel really technical at times. The food code can feel really technical at times. So we build in a variety of activities and games to help you learn with some hands-on activities and have a little bit of fun. So you'll get to test your knowledge with a food code trivia game. We'll dive into the real world scenarios with an employee health activity, and then we'll explore the code itself through some challenges and games that we call the food code scavenger hunt, the food code forager, and find and seek. Now, each of these activities is going to be designed to reinforce your learning and help you navigate the food code with confidence and not just be peeling through it and getting frustrated because you can't find what you're trying to look for in the food code. And we'll apply those principles to everyday situations in your operation. To wrap up the course, we'll have a final assessment. It is really just to test your knowledge and help see if you have built up that knowledge from beginning to the end of the course. And the nice thing is we'll review the answers together at the end of the course so that you can leave with full clarity and confidence and understanding. So what are you going to gain from this course? You'll not only understand the rule, but you'll also understand how to explain it to your team. And I think that's one of the downfalls that sometimes is really hard to do, is learn a course, but then learn how to convey that message to the rest of your team. Hopefully, when you're able to do that, it will lead to fewer violations, smoother inspections, less stress during an inspection, and a safer business overall. So we're going to hope that you walk away with some confidence in applying the food code to your daily work, improve your inspection results, be a better communicator with your team, and ultimately have a safer and stronger business. So it's really about giving you the knowledge and tools to lead with confidence and consistency and make sure that you're really inspection ready. Honestly, I really do believe that this is one of the most important courses that anybody in the food safety world could take, either them or their staff, because it's part of what we do every day. And it really is important that you have a really good understanding of what the food code is all about and how it applies real world in your facility. So it sounds, if it sounds like something you might be interested in or that can benefit you in your operation, we'd love to have you join us for the full course. The sessions, as I said, they are live, they're virtual, and they're taught by instructors from both industry and regulatory backgrounds. It's a great opportunity to learn the food code, but not only that, to be able to ask all kinds of questions and set your team up for long-term success. We do issue a certificate at the end of the course that you can utilize potentially for NEHA CE units. If you have a NEHA credential and you need CE units, you'll be able to use this course for that. Our next class is on February 17th to 19th in 2026, so after the new year. The class is held from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on each of those days, and it is, as I said, 3 days long. So with that, I want to let you know, if you have not already signed up for our NEHA newsletter, please make sure you do that. That's a way for you to stay in the loop on what NEHA training opportunities are available to you. We don't spam you. We don't sell out your information. It's just a monthly newsletter we get out to you to keep you up to date and let you hear about new courses, webinars, and resources that we release in each quarter. So our goal really is to support your healthy environment, protect our communities, and empower professionals just like you at NEHA. I'd also love to have you join the NEHA as a national member. If you do become a NEHA member, we do give a lot of discounts on classes and materials, and the membership will very, very quickly pay for itself. If you're not a member, we'd love to have you join. There's a QR code here that you can join NEHA as well. We'd also like to take the opportunity to invite you to our NEHA annual education and exhibition. This year, it's going to be called Woven Strong, the Environmental Health Tapestry. It's going to be August 3rd through 6th in Kansas City, Missouri. So we'd love to have you there. This year's theme really does embody every thread, our expertise, our experiences, our innovations, and it really interlaces to create a stronger, more resilient future for public health. So we'd love to have you join us there as well. Now, if there are any questions, we'd love to take your questions at this point. I believe we are going to, let me get my questions up here because it looks like we do have a couple. Question is, when will the course be offered? And I did have that in the prior slide. It's going to be held on, and I'll pull it back here just so you can see it. February 17th to 19th is when it's going to be offered. How can someone tell what food code their inspectors use? Good question. And we're going to be talking about that in the course as well. Because we do know that there are a lot of different versions of the food code across the country. However, it's always good to know the strongest, most comprehensive food code, which is why this course focuses in on the 2022 FDA Food Code. That's the one we'll be using. But we will talk about how to understand which food code your community uses as well. Does the course also showcase how different states have nuances from local perspectives in addition to the food code? Yes, we do our best to do that. And although we do focus in on the 2022 food code plus supplement, we do talk a little bit about nuances that we see across the country that might become sticking points in deciding how you're going to handle a certain issue. Next question. Is the class open to regulators? Anybody can take this class. It is open to anybody. It's going to be geared towards industry. Of course, there is a cost to it. Regulatory folks who are interested in the course can also take FD 112, and they would just look in their Learn Ed system for FD 112 to take the course. But it is open to anybody who would like to take it. Over in chat, we do have a question for those who are not squarely in food safety areas but want to get exposure to the food code. Is there a shorter, more executive module for the course? At this time, there is not. It is the full 3-day course, and we will be walking through the entire food code from beginning to end in this particular course. I would say keep an eye, though, in our newsletter, because we do often offer webinars throughout the year that might help cover some of that information that you might be interested in. And someone did ask, what is the cost? It is $795 a person to take the course. But I can tell you it is well worth every dollar you spend on it, because this is really the pillar that all of us stand on in the United States, is that pillar of the FDA Food Code. Can you provide the newsletter QR code again? Sure, let me get to that slide. Here's the newsletter QR code again. I do believe Sadie may have put it in chat as well. So you can get it. There it is. It's in the chat as well. So if you can't do the QR code there, you can click on the link that's in the chat. Does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, are there any other dates or options behind February? Yes. At this time, we are working the calendar. So as soon as we have those other dates available, we will be putting them out in our newsletter. We'll put them on our website. We'll have them on our social media. So you can just kind of keep an eye out for that. But yes, this is not going to be the only course that we hold. We will be holding more beyond February. Any other questions? Okay, well, not seeing anybody putting any more questions in, I do want to thank you for attending today's webinar. I hope that we'll see you in the class coming up in February. I can guarantee you if you take this class, you are going to learn a wealth of information and feel way, way more confident, not only about the food code and understanding the food code, but your inspections and being inspection ready as well. So with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much for attending, and I hope that we'll see you in February.